On your screens, you can see a video of Dipu Chandra, a Hindu youth and garment factory worker in Bangladesh, who has sparked anger and outrage in India. You can see the manner in which he is being shamelessly treated with no empathy and being dragged by police authorities. He was lynched to death by a mob, and his body was set on fire over alleged blasphemy in Baluka in Mymensingh on December 18th. The incident sparked widespread outrage and condemnation. What kind of condemnation? And what level of outrage? Let's take a deeper look. Hello and welcome to another episode of Deep Dive brought to you by NewsX. I'm Outrage, and today we will take a closer look at how anger spills on the streets of India after this tragedy. The lynching of this Hindu man in Bangladesh has left India roiled. On Thursday, as news of the death of Sharif Osman Hadi spread, Dipu Chandra, a Hindu youth, was lynched by a mob amid protests. The incident, which occurred in Bhaluka's Mymensingh, saw Das accused of blasphemy. The garment factory worker was beaten to death, his body hung from a tree and then set ablaze. Since then, a dozen of people have been arrested by authorities in Bangladesh. The Bangladesh government on Friday had missed its first comment on the lynching, saying that the perpetrators of this heinous crime will not be spared. The Ministry of External Affairs has called Das's killing horrendous and demanded the protection of all minorities in Bangladesh. MEA spokesperson Randir Jaiswal has made a statement saying that India continues to keep a close watch on the evolving situation in Bangladesh, and their officials remain in touch with Bangladesh authorities and have conveyed to them their strong concerns at the attacks on minorities. He stated, and I quote, "We have also urged the perpetrators of the barbaric killing of Das to be brought to justice." But what has been the wider reaction in India? Let's take a closer look. In Delhi, several Hindu groups, including the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, conglomerated near the Durgabhai Deshmukh South Campus metro station to protest against the killing of Das and atrocities against Hindus in Bangladesh. The protest, led by members of Vishwa Hindu Parishad and other Hindu organizations, was called to condemn what they described as atrocities against Hindus in Bangladesh and the recent mob lynching of Dipu Chandra in Mymensingh. You can clearly see on your screens how aggressive this is looking, but take a listen and see what the actual intensity was. Protesters raised slogans such as Yunus Sarkar, Hosh Mein Aao, and also chanted other things. Protesters were seen holding up banners condemning the attacks on Hindus in Bangladesh. VHP members tried to march on the Bangladesh High Commission but were stopped by authorities. Protesters were told they would not be allowed to proceed forward to the Bangladesh High Commission or enter the diplomatic enclave under any circumstances. The VHP on Monday said that India should not remain a silent spectator to the events occurring in Bangladesh. Bharat has a long and proud tradition of standing with oppressed and persecuted communities across the world. We strongly urge the government to take all possible diplomatic, political and humanitarian measures. VHP President Alok Kumar was quoted as saying he also demanded that Yunus Nobel Prize should be withdrawn. He said that any leadership which fails to protect minorities and maintain law and order has no moral right to enjoy international recognition or legitimacy. Let's listen in to what else he said.
दीपू ने कोई ब्लेसेफेमस बयान दिया ऐसा एविडेंस नहीं है, ये लीपा पोती है, क्योंकि अगर उसने ब्लेसेफेमस बयान नहीं दिया तो हत्या क्यों हुई? बांग्लादेश को इसका जवाब देना पड़ेगा।
In Kolkata, several opposition politicians, including BJP leader Suvendru Adhikari, staged a protest outside the Bangladesh Deputy High Commission. Adhikari was accompanied by several Congress members. Adhikari had attempted a march on the High Commission in Bekbegan. Several Hindu monks also joined in. However, the march was halted by the police after security concerns. The demonstrations also saw effigies of units being burnt. Let's listen in to what these protesters and what exactly these protests look like. While speaking to NewsX, one of the female protesters who has stated that the policemen had started lathi charge during the protest and had taken place, and she stated that they were directing it on females as well. Take a listen.
पीजी वैन में एक भाई के तुला था, हम लोग प्रतिवाद किए, वैन जाने नहीं दिए, हम लोग को जेंट्स पुलिस मार के हटाया है, जेंट्स पुलिस मारा है, लेडीज.
Delhi and Kolkata are not the only places that have been enraged by the situation. Vishwa Hindu Parishad and other Hindu organizations have also protested over the atrocities against Hindus and the mob lynching of Dipu Chandra in Bangladesh in Bhopal. You can clearly see with these visuals on your screens that these crowds are massive and people are getting enraged all over the country. Other than this, the protests have also continued in Mumbai, where members of the Vishwa Hindu Parishad were detained by the police as they were holding a protest over the atrocities against Hindus and the mob lynching of Dipu Chandra in Bangladesh. It has come to such a point where people are being detained. From Delhi to Kolkata, from Bhopal to Mumbai, the message from India is loud and clear. The lynching of Dipu Chandra is not being seen as an isolated incident, but as a warning sign, a test of accountability, a test of governance, and a test of how minorities are protected. Diplomatic assurance have been given, but action on the ground will now be real measure. Dr. Surva Kamal Datta, acclaimed international conservative expert, joins us on the broadcast. I'd like to thank you for joining us. And I'd like to understand from you, when was the last time you saw a country where mindless killings took place in the presence of army personnel who were facilitating them? When was the last time you saw media houses set on fire with no major repercussions?
Well, the last time I saw this brutality was, of course, in Bangladesh. Last time I saw this in Chattogram, I saw this in Rangpur, I saw this in Khulna, I saw it in Sylhet, I saw it in Dhaka, and across the nook and corner of Bangladesh, when the unfortunate saint of ISKCON was brutally attacked, he was beaten, and then he was taken into jail, and still now he is relinquishing with a series of false, false accusations and with series of false cases. It had happened last time during the regime of this present puppet in charge of Bangladesh, Mr. Mohammed Yunus, and it has again happened today. Last time I saw Bangladesh bleeding, last time I saw Bangladesh being burnt, Hindu minority community being burnt, being brutalized, Hindu women being gang raped, and temples and houses being vandalized and looted. Same is happening even now. Dipu Das is just one example. What I have heard from my friends in Bangladesh and also from my media friends in Bangladesh, the attempt of and the ransacking of the Pratham Alo as well as Dhaka Tribune offices and Bangladesh Star offices and several media outlets were burnt across the nook and corner of Bangladesh. It was a calculated, pre-decided campaign so that the media cannot cover the atrocities on Hindus. And what they have said me is like, Hundreds of Hindus have been brutalized in the recent protest, and many women have been converted forcefully into Islam. Temple has been destroyed. Temples have been desecrated. Shops and buildings and houses of the Hindus have been burnt. And there are many similar cases where people have been killed, Hindu minority community people have been killed, or they have been burnt, similar to that of Dipu Das. So this is a clear-cut indication that Bangladesh is heading for the worst kind of tyranny under Muhammad Yunus, and it is heading towards a worst form of Islamic terrorism regime. It seems that the Muhammad Yunus government has become a terror regime. And what we have seen in the couple of days is the unfolding of the whole campaigning against India, against the Indian government, and again slogans are being raised about taking away of Northeast, like flags and Greater Bangladesh have come, maps of Greater Bangladesh have come, which is circulating in hundreds and hundreds and in millions of forwarded messages in social media, where Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, West Bengal, and the whole of Northeast, together with the Arakan province of Myanmar, has been shown as a part of the Greater Republic of Bangladesh. So this is a clear indication that what is the mindset of Yunus government and what is Muhammad Yunus actually trying to do. What I understand is there is a clear-cut nexus of the ISI and Pakistan, and the ISI and the Pakistani army and the mercenaries, they have they have entered into various positions within the present regime, and they are now completely controlling the Yunus regime with the terrorist outfits, and that is the reason why we are seeing this kind of things happening in Bangladesh. The reason was a very trivial reason, and it was a falsified reason. What I have heard, and as far as the Bangladesh police have reported in their prima facie FIR, in their first information report, is it was a personal quarrel between two peer worker working in that factory. One was Dipu Das, and there was a Muslim worker, and there was some personal quarrel which had happened on a very small trivial issue, and there was a false propaganda raised that Dipu Das had spoken something very ill about the Holy Prophet Muhammad, and it spread it like fire, and then he was brutally lynched and he was burnt alive. What I understand is now the government of India and the Modi government, the government of Bharat, should not remain a mute spectator. Enough of it now, and we have seen in the last 1.5 to 2 years, there has been enough indication that Bangladesh is trying to destabilize the territorial integrity of Bharat, and there is a serious attempt to disintegrate Bharat, and especially try to take over the eastern part of Bharat and the northeastern part of Bharat forcefully. So I think it is time to undo the historic wrong which was done by Pandit Nehru. It is time for us to widen the chicken neck. It is time for us to take back Rangpur. It is time for us to take back Srihatta or Sylhet, and it is time for us to take back Chattogram or Chittagong.
Right, absolutely. With that, I'd like to thank you, sir, for joining us on the broadcast, sharing your perspectives with us. On that note, a quick short break.